Hey guys, and welcome back to Let's Play The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword. You can see we are now flying through the air, and that's because I'm going to check out the map here, and we're going to go ahead and actually collect the rest of the goddess chests. There actually aren't any more to get after this, so that should be pretty cool. It turns out once we kind of continue on with what we're supposed to be doing, it's basically going to lead towards the end of the game. So I'd really rather not have anything sort of interrupting that flow. So I think we'll go ahead, get these out of the way, and then we'll head back to what we're supposed to be doing. Okay, and our first chest is over here on Beetle's Island. I'm guessing it's going to have to be the one that we drop into. And I picked a pretty bad angle for that, so of course I messed it up. That one's pretty tricky because, like I said, I'm pretty sure you have to just fall into it from above. I mean, I don't see any claw shot targets or anything, so I may have to try this a couple times, but we'll get there eventually. Alright, this is a better angle. Oh man, it's so hard to tell. I keep hitting just like the top of it. Okay, well, we made it. It wasn't the most graceful landing in the world, but, well, we're here. That's all that matters. So for all our efforts, the chest here is going to contain a rupee medal, something completely useless to us at this point. But, you know, I guess it's worth getting anyway. This is also the one that I thought was a bottle earlier. It turns out I was wrong. One of them, however, actually is a bottle. Of course, it's just going to be one of those two that are all the way over there in the Thunderhead. Okay, so we're getting close to our next island where we're going to pick up the last two of our chests. Now let's see if I can figure out the best way to fall in. Probably over here where we're going to have to burrow. There we go. Alright, let's see what's under here. Looks like a Moldorm has taken up residence here. That's kind of strange to see on one of these side islands. I'll have to admit I'm coming into this a little bit blind because forgive me for not really going through this too much on my own time. So let's get out of this guy's way. Oh, come on, man. Gotta figure out which way you're going faster, dude. Get out of the way. Oh. And of course he's gonna block me off, so now I get to go around this way. Oh, oh well, too bad. I'm taking just a lot of random damage out here on the overworld, aren't I? Okay, so it looks like one of our chests is in here. Let's go ahead and open this one up. And this one contains a small quiver, so it can carry 5 extra arrows with that. It's kind of worthless if you ask me. Arrow refills are really just all over the place. I mean, there are a ton of those things. So let's head back down. I'm going to have to try to figure out where the second chest is. There might be an extra, like an extra way to get out here. So I'll have to explore this underground part a little bit more. Maybe up here? Yeah, there it is. I think you can also hear Levias out there in the background. That's kind of cool. You can hear him way down here. Alright, so now we dig out from the second spot. Looks like some vines to climb. And of course, the next chest is going to be up here. And this final goddess chest, it's probably not the last one you would actually collect if you were, you know, getting them as soon as you could. But this one's going to contain an empty bottle. Of course, our pouch is full. It's going to be sent to item check. And it's probably going to stay there because, really, I don't need any more bottles. I mean, I'm just sitting here with one empty anyway. So I'm pretty sure the fifth one is just going to stay there because of our limited inventory space. I mean, we've got what we already have. And, you know, all the heart medals and shields and stuff, so the space is a little bit limited. Now I've just got to try to figure out which one of these. They've switched the map around on me, so I think it's this one down here. Alright, yeah, looks like this is the one. So now that we've collected all those goddess chests, we can head back to Skyloft and search for that second stone of trials. So now we've touched down in Skyloft, and it turns out that where you need to go is actually basically exactly on top of a drop-off point. We can see the statue over here in the distance, and this is something that was called attention to way back in the game. I'm talking like part 1, part 2 way back in the game. You can see this statue only has one eye. That was pointed out to us by whoever was standing here. And if we take let's see if we can take a slightly closer look here. We can see it looks somewhat familiar to a stone that we already have. You can see kind of the Triforce emblem, the goddess emblem or whatever, inside the stone there. So let's go ahead and examine this statue, and then we'll be treated to a scene. I love how at the beginning of that scene, the cannonball just kind of like bounces harmlessly off the cliff, and it looks like it didn't do anything. Oh, so that was funny. However, Fi only thinks there's an 85% chance the Triforce is here, even though we were explicitly told that those 2 stones would lead the way to the Triforce. I mean, really, like, where else could it be at this point, you know? Alright, so it looks like reuniting the 2 stones in the statue has caused this kind of dungeon-looking place to appear below the goddess statue up there. And this is something that I actually really like in games. It's probably kind of an overdone, you know, plot device as far as, you know, story is concerned, that the place that you start out in is actually the place that houses the final dungeon or some big hidden secret or whatever. It's probably overdone, but at the same time, like, honestly, I really like it. The fact that the place that houses the Triforce was actually just underneath the goddess statue all along. So I think it's pretty neat. However, the next dungeon awaits us, so let's step forward. So here we are inside of the Sky Keep. This is the final dungeon in the game, and it's pretty tricky, I'm not gonna lie. The central mechanic behind it is very simple, but each of the individual rooms can be a little bit of a test, so we'll definitely have to see what's going on. Right from the beginning, you can tell things are different because they're just giving us a treasure chest right at the start. Of course, bird statue there if you need it. So we can check out our map and we can see that we're basically just in this square room. Obviously, there's an X here. We don't really know too much about the place yet. But if we open the chest that's placed in front of us, they give us the dungeon map right from the start, and there's good reason for this. This place would be a lot more annoying without it. So as you can see, the general layout is kind of a, you know, like one of those sliding puzzles. You know, you put a picture together and you have to slide the different tiles around. So we'll see why that is. Of course, Fi's going to point out that she's detected the Triforce, and she's also marked them on our map as a triangle. So let's take a little closer look at the map since it went away somewhat quickly. You can tell that definitely there's a blank spot here where we're going to be moving things around. And obviously each of these rooms kind of has different doorways, different ways they can go to connect to other pieces. So once we get over here, this gate has actually opened up for us. We can check out this little object here. And you can see that it's kind of laid out in a very similar fashion to our map. So if we slide some things around, you can also tell where the doorways are. If we slide some things around here, like maybe that, you know, just to get access to these next 2 rooms, and then we back out of this, we hear some rumbling, and Fi indicates that the shaking was caused by changing the building structure, and the map will come up, and we can see that the map has actually changed. So yes, by moving those little panels around, we actually changed the layout of the rooms, and that's obviously what we're going to have to use to get into each of these. So now that there is actually a way to go from here, the door's going to open up to us, and we can begin our journey. So each of these rooms also is kind of similar to a dungeon that we faced previously in the game. Some might say that's kind of recycling, but I would say it works pretty well. This is definitely the Skyview Temple type analog. They also have the same music as the dungeon they're modeled after, so that's a really easy way to tell. You know, some would say it's kind of just reusing the same thing over and over, but personally, I actually really enjoy it. One thing I would say to them is, you know, they use the same type of thing in Ocarina of Time, right? You know, Ganon's castle had all the trials you had to pass, so it's kind of the same thing. These are basically just miniature versions of each of the dungeons with much harder puzzles within. So I think it's actually pretty neat. Okay, so we've got this thing we're going to have to whip across. However, it's pretty obvious that when we try, we're not really going to get anywhere. So we're going to have to kind of free this rope here with a well-placed shot. And, of course, it was a little high. Ugh. Okay, well, we'll just do it with the hook beetle. You can do it with the arrows, but I think the hook beetle is a little more reliable, maybe. There it goes. So after we free that rope, we can now use the whip and swing our way across. Of course, make sure you're lined up first. It's always good to take time to do that. There we go, and then on the other side we can just hop off, and we make it. However, yeah, watch out for the spider there. We can just, one stab with our Master Sword will take care of that. Now, before we do anything in this room, we are going to take out our arrows again, and we're going to pick off this Phoenix flying around, because that thing would be a giant pain otherwise while we're just hanging defenseless on these little rotating columns. So we're going to have to use our claw shots to get over here, and then we can kind of fight the rotation a bit and get over to the next one. And then once we get off here, inside the mouth of the giant fish, no, it doesn't eat you or anything, unfortunately. As we head over here, we can see there are these things that breathe fire, which obviously is blocking our passage across. And there are bombs on this rotating column, so put 2 and 2 together. We're going to have to use the beetle to grab one of the bombs and blow them up. This is the easiest way I found to do it. It takes a little bit more time, but it's pretty much the safest. Otherwise, you know, if you run into anything with a bomb, it'll blow up, obviously. So we can just ram into the middle one here, and the explosion's big enough that it'll take out all 3, so it saves a little bit of tediousness, I guess. Oh man, that was really close. I actually didn't think I made it, but we did. So now once we're on here, we can use the gust bellows, and yes, of course, they're going to make you use basically all of your items in this place. We can jump across here. That was a little late, but I've made it at least. And then we can do the same for this. Oh, man. Alright, so once we've made it here, basically once you complete a room, you'll see a door like this and a wall switch you can pull. For some reason, he doesn't, like, latch on to the wall switch as well in here for some reason. I don't know why that is. As you can see, I'm having a really tough time trying to line up with this thing. Oh, man, okay, we're just gonna use the whip then. Like, I don't know what it is about this dungeon, but this is the only place that I ever have trouble with that, so I really don't know if it's something in the coding or what, but we also have a goddess wall here, which I'm gonna use. I'm actually gonna refill on bombs, because we're pretty low. So, if I remember correctly, I think bombs are just a circle, so hopefully that'll be easy enough to do. I don't know, is that close enough to a circle? Yeah, okay, good. So this will fill us up, which is good. And now we can head into the next room. If we take a look at our map, it's this one over here. Okay, so we've entered the next dungeon, and this one is, of course, reminiscent of the Lanayru mining facility. We'd recognize that music anywhere. Which means we're also going to be dealing with some time shift stuff, this time basically just orbs. There aren't really any time shift stones in here or anything. But as we go along, these guys are of course going to wake up, so let's go ahead and take them out. Just a couple shots each, and that'll do it. Oh, I didn't actually mean to attack there. I was just trying to take the sword out. Alright, there's also an arrow refill, I believe, in one of these. Yep, there it is. So, of course, the puzzles are basically the same kind of thing we've always really seen from the time shift puzzles, except just a little bit more complicated. I don't think there's any way around waking up this Synthrobe here. Actually, maybe there is. Okay, it looks like we managed to avoid it. It turns out, basically, you just need to use the time shift orb in order to activate this switch up here. And there's a little marking on the ground to kind of indicate, you see that little strange colored tile in the floor there? It's kind of expected that you put it there, but you don't have to, as long as the switch is activated, and we can avoid activating that guy as well. And then once we get over here, we can stand on the floor switch. There's this little conveyor belt. We can just kind of toss the orb onto it, and that'll send it along its merry way, which is basically the only way we can get it up to this next section here. So you can see it's made its way to the end and is now waiting on us, so we can step on the switch, and out it comes. So there's going to be a couple different instances where we're going to have to use these conveyor belts. in order to make our way forward. We're also going to have to do a little bit of tricky work here. Now, if we place the time shift orb on that platform, you can see there's no way we'd be able to get across because this bar is actually blocking the way, and this switch over here is the only way to actually raise it. So we're going to kind of have to go separate from the platform. We can use our gust bellows here to move it along. Once it reaches the bars, we can step on the platform. And continue it along its way. And then at this point, let's see. Oh yeah, we're going to have to move it a little bit further because we have an eye switch up there we have to hit. And that will open the bars that were blocking our way. And now, whoa, let's not fall down. That would be good. We can basically just pull this switch to make sure that it goes all the way forward, and that'll, pretty much open the puzzle for us. So we can now grab the orb and continue into the next room. Now this is, I think, the final part. We can't bring the orb through here, obviously, because of these electric fences. You can see the little thing that moves the rooms around back there, though. So what we're going to have to do to get it down there, first things first, I'm going to set it down kind of over here so it's not moving quite on the conveyor belt yet. We can also open up this shortcut. And I'm going to come over here because there's these series of eye switches we're going to have to hit. And obviously, as the time shift door moves down the conveyor belt, these will open and close. So I want to go ahead and take out this first one so you don't have to worry about being too quick, especially with that BMOS there. And then we can go back and send it along its way. So after we take that out, we're going to have a little bit of time to shoot these. You don't necessarily have to be quick about it. You may have seen the lever over here. You can actually use the whip on that in order to reverse the direction of the conveyor belt. So if you missed your chance, you can just send it back. But, I'd rather not waste the time. Alright, so once we hit all 5 switches, that will, of course, give us access to the little control panel there. And I'm also going to use an arrow to take this thing out. There we go. So we're done with the time shift orb. We don't need it for anything else. We could just leave it at the end. And now we can make some more changes here. So this is where things start to get a little bit puzzling, trying to figure out just exactly what room we want to go to next. It might be a good idea to take a look at your map beforehand. The room we're aiming to get to is actually this one right here. It turns out you can see there's actually a locked door here. To start getting these Triforce pieces, we're going to need what's in this chest. So we're going to have to try to move things around to make that room accessible to us. I think if we move this down here and that there, you can see that'll give us access to this room that was previously down here. And that should be good enough for now. And of course, when you're done, you'll also see a map. And yes, that is the way we wanted to take. Of course, this is going to give us through, let us pass through one room we've already done, which is always good, especially when you make those shortcuts. Alright, so if we can just find the door here, we can head through. And now we're back inside the Skyview Temple room. So since we made that shortcut, we can just dash straight through. And that's one of the really good things about this dungeon, is you can basically, once you complete a room, you really don't have to worry about it again. So that definitely speeds things up a bit. Alright, so now we are in the next room. I believe this is Fire Sanctuary territory. I always get the Fire Sanctuary and the Earth Temple kind of confused, but we're going to have to make our way over here to the left. And you can see there's one of these gates here that we can move from underground, so we're obviously going to have to do that. First things first, we can head through this tunnel on the left, then take a left at this intersection. And that'll bring us into this room. Of course, if you didn't fill up on bombs at the goddess wall, you could do it here, but we're just going to take this one. We got to roll it. There we go, that should be good enough. And that will open the way forward into the next section. So once we're here, we're going to be doing a lot of work underground. Wow, that guy completely caught me by surprise. I totally forgot he was there. Managed to get him anyway, though. So yeah, we're going to be doing a lot of work underground in this section. Some of it can actually be a little bit annoying, but thankfully it starts out pretty simple. We've just got to move the gate out of the way first. And And that'll, of course, give us access to the area we saw before. So now we can head back through the tunnel again. So I don't know, I think I've mentioned this before, but crawling through tunnels feels a little bit, like, tanky to me. You can't, like, move and turn at the same time, so it kind of throws me off a bit. And of course, those guys go down super quick with our fully powered up sword. Also, finally refilled all our life, and we can get the lizard tail if we want, but it's really of no significance now, so we'll grab it with the hook beetle just so we don't have to sit through the animation. Now, at this point, we've got a little bit of a puzzle to solve. If we check the stone tablet, we're going to have to strike the gemstones from lowest to highest. That's, of course, speaking of elevation. So, first things first, we can use a bomb to drop it right in this basket. And that opens up the first switch. However, we might as well not bother trying to hit them just until we're sure which one's which. You can see there's another one down there, and this is a very tricky throw. The most reliable way I found to do it is to sort of curve it like this as much as you can and then try to throw it that way. And that'll ensure it has enough speed to make it up there and actually into the basket. Otherwise, I've wasted like all my bombs before trying to make it in there. But that's pretty much the best way I found to do it. Obviously, that switch is going to be lower than this one, and it turns out that is the lowest one of the three. So let's go ahead and hit this one with the hook beetle. Oh man, I'm glad that didn't cause me to like actually have to do it again. All right, so there's the first one, and this is also the middle one. So we hit that. Now we got to find the highest one, and we are actually going to run down this. Sort of hop off here. That one can also be a little bit tricky because there's lava on either side of that sloped platform, so you know, if you mess something up, you'll burn your butt and have to start over. Wouldn't be good. So now we can make our way up here. We've got these platforms we can use. Yeah, we want to clear this away. We're gonna have to get the hook beetle over there. We can use Skyward strikes to do that, and if you hit the bomb, it'll pretty much just blow up all the trees, which is nice. And we also want to clear these out. And actually, yeah, that should be good. So let's go ahead and get our hook beetle going here. Oh man, it did one little turn to the right there that I wasn't meaning to do, and that threw me off. Alright, so then we've just got to get it in this little alcove, and of course, drop it off here. And that'll open the way to the final switch, which is definitely the highest of the three. So let's send the hook beetle back in once again, and hit the final switch. Definitely having the faster hook beetle makes things a lot more bearable here. Otherwise, it'd be a lot of just waiting for it to get there. And then we can kind of take a little shortcut here and just hop off where we were before, and this will give us access to the next area. Now, it's of course time for some more underground work, because we love that so much. And this is, I think, actually might be one of the later ones. Yeah, this is just the same area. You have to be a little creative here, though. There's some rocks at the top left, just below my hearts, that we're going to have to blow up. So what we're going to do is hit this bomb flower, and then quickly make our way over. And before it explodes, hit it again in order to get up to those rocks. And then we can use this new opening to get around. And basically just move the gate back to its original position. And now we get to crawl all the way back around and out again. So you may be wondering what moving the gate back actually did for us. But if we head back out here and take a look, this is where we came from. You can see that's opened up yet another passage for us to go through, which of course has even more stuff we have to do underground. Now this is the one I was thinking about that was actually really annoying. There's kind of a trick you can use because we're going to have to defeat, believe it or not, 2 Moldorms in this place. And there's one over here on the right side. There's a trick I like to use. Because there's kind of a limitation on how far down they can go, like which areas they can go to. Because obviously it would be possible to get stuck in some pretty bad places, you know, like dead ends and stuff, so you wouldn't want them to be able to do that. I'm waiting for this one on the right to come down here. It usually doesn't take this long. I may have to just go get him if this takes too much longer. He's probably just going around in a circle. Okay, there he is. So come on down. Or if he goes up, we can get him there too. Yeah, so I like to hide right here because he cannot turn in this direction. So you can pretty much just wait for him to pass by, and then once his tail is there, we can just hit it. And it's actually, this is pretty much the easiest way to do it because there's not a lot of, see, he can charge towards you, but then he turns right at the end. Because there's not a lot of space for this one over on the right, and there's not a lot of intersections for him to stop at. So really, this is just the quickest, easiest way. And then once we get the third hit, he's done for, and we can move on to the other one. Now, this one has a lot more space to work with, so it's a little bit quicker and a little bit easier to do. So we should get a shot in here as well, once he makes up his mind. There we go. Okay, I'm not really in the best of positions here, but we'll hope he just go... Oh, he's over there, okay. Yeah, you kind of just have to guess which way he's going to go and hope you're right. Okay, well, he definitely saw me there. You can also do that, stun him, but... the problem is they don't stay stunned for long enough. Okay, there we go. That was our good opportunity. So yeah, this one can be a little bit time-consuming, especially on the right one. For whatever reason, that one's just really annoying. But once you take them both out, we're good to go. We're also gonna have to kind of do a little, do a little S-curve pattern here. And then we can dig our way up on the other side. And at this point, we're basically done with the area. You can see there's a shortcut we can create here. Again, having trouble with the wall switch. There we go. So I don't know what it is about this place, but I just always have trouble grabbing onto those. Okay, so now that we're in this room right here, we don't really want to mess things up because we can get, you know, directly into this room with the treasure chest. So let's see if I can remember which way. I believe, yeah, this should be it. Right. Yeah, because there's always multiple doors out of a place, and I can never remember which one I want to actually check out. Alright, so this is the room that has that chest that we're definitely going for, and you can see a familiar foe here. Kind of an updated version, of course, of the guy we fought on the sand ship. And you basically just, I take care of him the exact same way. I just do some strikes. If he blocks me, I can just counter his attack, or if he doesn't, we can just keep going. And we just keep doing the same thing. This guy really isn't any more trouble than the original one was. He has basically all the same attacks as far as I know. So really no problem here. Oh, yeah, you have to watch out for that though. If you hit his electric sword, you will of course get stunned and take damage. Alright, so that's the second time. Now just one more when he's down to his hook hand, and then we'll have him beat. Oh man, really? Oh man, I'm trying to do a spin attack, but for whatever reason he's doing horizontal slashes. I'm not sure what's going on there. Oh man, I'm just... this is slightly embarrassing, because I'm like, oh, this guy's no problem, but wow, look at this. Wow, he keeps doing that. There. I guess we'll just have to do a regular strike first. I'm not sure why he keeps getting hit. Because I'm trying to do one of those vertical spin attacks, you know, so that I don't actually hit the claw. Alright, there we go. Man, that was way more trouble than it should have been. I definitely have to apologize for my less than stellar play there. However, once we beat him, that will of course open up the gate across the way, and of course the one behind us as well. And we can use our hook beetle if we want to make our way around the outside of this place. There's a couple of heart flowers, I think 5 in total. We can get these 2 here. And then make our way around the other side. I believe there's 3 here. Oh, hit the mushroom. There we go, we got the final 3. I'm having problems with that calibration again. I really don't know what it is, but we made it at least, so that's all that matters. Now we can use the claw shots to make our way across. And then finally get this chest that we've been searching for so long. And that one contains a small key, which is, of course, the only one we're going to need for this place. And that's nice. And we can also check out where we want to go. Now, once we have this kind of setup with this key room in the middle, we're basically going to stick with it like this, which means all we can really do is rotate things around. But it turns out that's really all that we need to do. So we can head into the next room, and we're going to be coming back to this console a lot, actually. And we can do this. Now, let's see what we need to do here. Because, like I said before, really all you can do at this point is just rotate things around. So we'll just do this. And that'll give us access to the green Triforce room here. So we might as well do that. Okay, so the gate closes behind us, and now we are good to go on ahead.